She wasn't human. And she was scared of me. It was a cold evening in the mountains. Snow covered everything like a white blanket. The wind howled outside, and Jake Collins was inside his small wooden cabin, making tea. He lived alone, no neighbors. For miles. Just him, his cabin, and the quiet. He liked it this way. Jake had come here to escape the noise of the city. No traffic, no people, no drama, just peace. But peace didn't last forever. That evening, while putting more wood into the fire, Jake felt something. Not a sound, but a presence. Like someone or something was watching him. He looked around. The room. Nothing. Just the crackling fire and his dog, Max, sleeping near the heater. He shook his head. Probably just my imagination. But then Max sat up, ears alert. Eyes locked on the window. Jake turned slowly and saw it. A shadow. It moved past the window, too fast to be human. He rushed to the door, grabbed his flashlight, and stepped outside. The snow was falling hard, but there near the edge of the trees were footprints. Small, bare feet. No shoes. Who walks barefoot in the snow? Jake followed the prints. They led behind the cabin and stopped near the shed. The door was slightly open. His heart pounded. He pushed it open with a slow hand. Nothing. Just old tools. Rusty nails. A broken bike. Then he heard it. A tiny sound. Like breathing. He turned his flashlight toward the corner and froze. There she was. A woman. Or at least she looked like one. She was crouched low, shaking, her arms around her knees. She was wearing a torn silver suit, like nothing Jake had ever seen before. Her skin was pale, almost glowing. Her hair was silver white, not from age but like moonlight. And her eyes. Her eyes were glowing light blue. Jake raised his hands. "It's okay. I'm not going to hurt you." She looked terrified. She moved back more into the shadows. "Please," she said. Her voice was soft, scared. "Don't hurt me." Jake blinked. She spoke English. "You're safe," he said. "I promise." She looked down at her arm. It was bleeding, a deep greenish-blue liquid dripping onto the wooden floor. Jake didn't know what to say. She wasn't human, but she wasn't attacking either. "I can help you," he said carefully. "Let me bring you inside. It's warmer. You'll freeze out here." She hesitated. Max barked from inside the cabin, and she jumped, eyes wide. "It's just my dog," Jake said quickly. "He's friendly." After a moment, she nodded just slightly. Jake helped her walk to the cabin. Her legs were weak. She was hurt badly. When they got inside, Max sniffed her but didn't bark. Strange, he barked at every stranger. But not her. She sat on the couch, shaking from cold and fear. Jake brought a blanket, wrapped it around her, and gave her hot tea. She held the cup like she'd never seen one before. "What's your name?" Jake asked. She was quiet. "I'm Jake." After a pause, she whispered, "Alira." He nodded slowly. "Alira. That's a beautiful name." She didn't smile. She looked at the fire like she was remembering something painful. "I crashed," she said. "My ship, it broke." Jake's eyes widened. "Ship? You mean like a plane?" She shook her head. "Not a plane. You wouldn't understand. Try me." She looked up at him, her glowing eyes meeting his. "I'm not from here." Jake didn't speak. The room felt colder now, even with the fire burning. "I was running," she said. "They were chasing me. I didn't know where to go. I saw your cabin. I thought maybe." She stopped. "You thought I would hurt you?" Jake asked. She nodded. "Most humans would." Jake was quiet for a moment, then said, "Well, I'm not most humans." She gave the smallest smile, but it disappeared quickly. Suddenly, a strange sound came from the corner of the room. Jake's old radio, one he hadn't used in months, crackled to life. Subject escaped. Possibly in Sector 9. Scan all human homes in the area. The voice was robotic, cold. Elira's eyes filled with fear. Jake stood up, shocked. "What was that?" "They found me," she said. "They're coming." Asterisk, she wasn't from Earth. And she needed my help. Asterisk, the radio crackled again. "Unit 4. Move to grid location 19A. Thermal scan shows activity. Investigate immediately." Jake stared at the old radio on the shelf. Dust covered it. He hadn't touched it in over a year. It wasn't even plugged in. Elira stood up, trembling. Her eyes glowed brighter now. "They're scanning for me. They can hear everything." Jake stepped away from the radio. "Wait, who's scanning you? Who are they?" She didn't answer. Instead, she moved too fast toward the radio. She placed her hand on it. Her skin pulsed with light. The radio sparked ... and went dead. Jake blinked. What the hell was that? She turned to him, breathing heavily. "They use frequencies to track me. This radio, it's like a doorway for them." Jake was about to speak when he heard something outside, a low "OQM," a vibration in the air. He walked to the window, carefully pulling the curtain aside. His breath caught in his throat. 3 black vehicles, no wheels, just floating, hovered down the snowy path that led to his cabin. They didn't make any sound except a soft electric buzz. They looked like they belonged in a sci-fi movie. "They're here," Elira said. "We need to hide now." Jake's mind raced. "Wait, who are they? What do they want with you? Why are you even on Earth?" Elira moved to the kitchen. She pulled open a drawer and touched the metal utensils. A fork bent by itself. She closed her eyes, whispering something in a strange language. The lights flickered. "I came here to stop something," she said. "Something that's already started." Jake followed her. "What started?" She looked straight into his eyes. "A silent invasion." Before he could ask more, Max growled low. Jake knew that growl. It meant danger. Real danger. Suddenly, a bright light filled the window. A spotlight. A mechanical voice boomed outside. "Step out with your hands up. You are harboring a Class 3 intergalactic fugitive." Jake's mouth dropped. Intergalactic, what now? Elira grabbed his hand. Her skin was ice cold. "If they take me, Earth will fall." "Yeah, okay, no pressure," Jake muttered, half panicking. She pulled out a small silver device from inside her suit. It looked like a crystal, glowing faintly. "This is what they want," she said. "It's a memory core. It holds evidence, plans, coordinates, the truth." "The truth about what?" "Their real mission. They're not here to protect. They're here to replace." Boom! Something hit the side of the cabin. The wall shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. Max barked wildly. "They're scanning the walls," Elira said. "They'll come in soon." Jake looked around. "Okay, we go through the back. There's a trail into the woods. But it's a steep climb." "I can handle steep," she said, her voice sharper now. They grabbed what they could, coats, flashlight, the device, and ran out the back door. Snow crunched beneath their feet as they disappeared into the trees. The forest was dark, the moon hidden behind clouds. Jake led the way. His boots sank in the snow, his heart pounding like a drum. Behind him, Elira moved almost silently, even in the snow. They climbed for nearly 10 minutes. Jake was out of breath. "We should be far enough. They won't track us easily through this storm." But then the sky lit up. A beam of white light scanned the forest like a giant flashlight. Jake grabbed Elira's arm and pulled her under a fallen log. They both lay still, breathing hard. The beam passed over them, then moved on. Silence. Jake looked at her. "Okay, talk. No more secrets. Who exactly are they? And what are they doing here?" She sat up slowly. "They're not all human. Some of them look human, sound human, act human. But they're not." "Shapeshifters?" She nodded. "Sort of. They call themselves the Sura. They've infiltrated governments, militaries. Their plan is slow, quiet, replace leaders. Control resources, Take over without war. Jake stared at her. And you're here to stop them? I was, with others. But we were ambushed. My ship crashed. I lost contact with the others. I'm the last. She opened the device. Inside, a blue projection lit the forest ground. Maps, alien writing, images of Earth. If this falls into their hands, we lose. But if I can get it to the right people, we still have a chance. Jake leaned back against the log. This is too much. I chop firewood. I eat beans from a can. I'm not made for space wars and spy missions. Alira looked at him, calm but serious. Maybe not. But you're the reason I'm alive, right? Now he paused. Why me? Why trust me? Because when I looked into your eyes that night, I didn't see fear. I saw hope. Jake chuckled nervously. Great. So now I'm the emotional support human for a hunted alien? She smiled, just a little, but the moment didn't last. They both froze as they heard a mechanical voice echo through the forest. Thermal signatures detected. Target is near. Jake stood. We have to move. But before they could, a figure stepped out from behind the trees. Tall, wearing black armor. Not snow-covered. Not breathing. It wasn't human. A red light glowed from its helmet. Jake grabbed a rock. Alira stood still. Then the figure spoke not with its mouth, but directly into their minds. Give us the device, and we will let you die quickly. Jake whispered, I really hate mind-speaking robots. Asterisk, they're coming for her. And now me too. Asterisk, the forest stood still. No wind. No sound. Just one red glow coming from the armored figure standing 10 feet away. Jake tightened his grip on the rock in his hand. His fingers were shaking. Alira stepped in front of him. Don't, she whispered. That's not a soldier. That's a hunter unit. Jake whispered back, Robot? She shook her head. Worse. Part machine, part living parasite. They don't stop. They don't think. They just hunt. The figure took a step forward. Its metallic voice echoed directly into their minds. Surrender the Narosian core. You are unauthorized life forms in a restricted sector. Lethal force has been approved. Jake raised the rock. What if I throw this really hard? Alira almost smiled. It'll annoy him. Then he'll kill. You, cool, just checking. Suddenly, the hunter lunged forward. Alira grabbed Jake's arm and pulled him to the side just as a pulse of red energy blasted the tree behind them. It exploded into splinters. They ran. Through snow, roots, and frozen branches. They ran like hell. Jake's lungs burned. His legs felt like jelly. But behind him, the sound of mechanical steps followed, fast, steady, unstoppable. What do we do? Jake yelled. We have to reach the cliffs. Alira shouted back. It can't track us near the magnetic field. What magnetic field? You'll see it when we jump off. What? They kept running. Snow whipped across Jake's face. His flashlight died. The forest turned to darkness, lit only by flashes of red light behind them. One beam sizzled past Jake's ear and hit a rock ahead. It melted like butter. Okay, cool. No pressure. Just a death robot with lava lasers. Jake muttered. Alira stopped suddenly and pulled him down into a ditch covered in roots and old leaves. Hold still, she whispered. Don't even breathe loud. The red light moved above them. Silent. Scanning. Jake held his breath so long his head spun. Beside him, Alira's skin was faintly glowing like she was preparing something. Her fingers formed symbols in the air, whispering her language. The light paused, then moved on. Gone. Jake exhaled. I'm too old for this. My knees are writing a resignation letter. Alira stood up. We have to move before it circles back. They continued climbing. The trees grew thinner. The snow stopped falling. Up ahead, the mountain opened into a rocky cliff. Below it, Mist swirled like clouds resting on the trees. Jake stopped at the edge and looked down. That's a long fall. Alira smiled. Not if you land right. Jake narrowed his eyes. Define. Right. She tapped her chest. Her suit glowed. My suit can shield us. Just hold on. Jake stared at her, then at the foggy death drop. So this is my life now. Before he could argue more, Alira grabbed his arm and jumped. For 3 seconds, Jake thought he was definitely going to die. The wind roared in his ears. The fog rushed up to meet them. Then something strange happened. The air shimmered. They dunged. Falling slowed. It was like being caught by invisible hands. They drifted instead of falling, gently landing in a clearing far below. Jake fell to his knees. I think I peed a little. Alira looked up at the cliff. The magnetic field here interferes with their sensors. We're safe. For now. Jake sat on a rock, catching his breath. Okay, so now what? We just keep running forever? No, Alira said. Now we fight back. Jake raised an eyebrow. Me? With what? A stick and some sarcasm? Alira opened a small pocket on her suit and pulled out a small cube. She pressed aside. The cube floated in the air and unfolded itself, becoming a thin screen with alien writing. This is a tracker, she said. It found another energy signature, another Narosian. Jake stood up. Wait, you're saying there's another one like you? She nodded. I thought I was the only survivor. But someone else made it, and they're nearby. Jake stared at the screen. How nearby? She pointed. 3 miles west. Near an old ranger's tower. Jake thought for a second. Yeah, that place has been abandoned for years. It's falling apart. Then it's the perfect hiding spot, Alira said. But if I can find them, so can they. Jake looked at her seriously. Let's go, we'll find your friend. They moved fast through the thick forest, down icy trails, and over frozen streams. Max, somehow still keeping up, barked low. Occasionally, like he sensed something wrong. After an hour, they reached the ranger tower. It stood crooked, half covered in vines and snow. Jake looked around. No lights, no movement. You sure this is it? Alira checked the screen. Yes, the signal is here. They entered carefully. Wooden stairs creaked as they climbed. At the top, the small room was dark until a soft blue glow appeared in the corner. Someone stepped out of the shadows. It was a man, pale like Alira, but taller. His arm was missing, replaced by a glowing mechanical one. His eyes lit up as he saw her. Alira? He said in a deep metallic voice. She ran to him. Dren, you're alive. Jake stood awkwardly. Okay, emotional alien reunion. Got it. Dren looked at Jake. And the human? He saved my life, Alira said, and helped protect the core. Dren nodded. Then he's one of us now. Jake laughed. One of you? I'm just a mountain guy with trust issues and a broken coffee machine. Dren looked out the window. They're already coming. We don't have much time, Jake frowned. How do you know? Dren lifted his metal hand. Because they already found me. From the trees below, red lights began to appear. 1, 2, 5, 10, surrounding the tower. Jake stared. So, we're trapped? Alira looked at him. No, we're making our stand. Jake grabbed a wooden chair leg and held it like a bat. Awesome. Let's beat up some space demons. She told me the truth about Earth. The ranger tower creaked in the wind. Outside, red dots blinked through the trees. Silent hunter units moving into position. The night air buzzed faintly with their low-frequency scanners. A storm was brewing. But inside the tower, the tension was already thunder. Jake stood beside Alira and Dren, holding a wooden chair leg like it was a legendary weapon. His breath was fast, his grip tight, but his mind was racing even faster. How many of them? He asked. Dren peeked through the cracked window. Too many to fight, not without help. Jake muttered, Cool, great. Any chance help's arriving? In the next 30 seconds, Dren turned. No, but there is something else. He walked to a metal case hidden beneath the floorboards. It looked like alien tech mashed with old human tools, rough but functional. He opened it, revealing a device that looked like a metallic sphere wrapped in crystal vines. What is that? Jake asked. Something we were never supposed to use, Dren said. It's called a mind anchor. Jake blinked. Sounds cozy? Illyra frowned. It connects to a human brain. Creates a psychic bridge between our consciousness and theirs. It allows us to share everything: language, memories, secrets. Jake backed up slightly. You want to plug that into my brain? It's the only way to show you the truth, Illyra said. No more bits and pieces. You need to see. Jake hesitated. Why me? Dren looked at him carefully. Because we scanned you. Your biology ... is slightly different. Different how? You have a genetic marker 1 that shouldn't exist on Earth. It's Narosian. Jake stared at them. You're saying I'm part alien? Illyra stepped forward. Maybe a descendant of an old contact mission. Maybe something else. But it means you can handle this. Jake looked at the device. If I say no? Then we die here, Dren said. Blind. Jake sighed. Of course. All right. Plug me in, E.T. Illyra placed the mind anchor on Jake's temple. The moment it touched his skin, it activated. The room disappeared. Inside Jake's mind, the memory bridge suddenly. Jake was floating in a black space filled with stars. In front of him were flickers of memories, not his own. He saw Naros, planet of twin suns, glowing cities, green oceans that shimmered like glass. He saw the Sura, once peaceful beings, twisted by ambition. They had learned how to hide inside bodies, wearing them like clothes. Their mission? Quiet control. Long-term domination of planets through slow replacement. He saw Earth on a map, marked, targeted. The invasion had already begun. They weren't sending ships. They were sending infiltrators. Jake saw world leaders, business CEOs, generals, all with flickering shadows behind their eyes. Some had already been taken. Some weren't even aware they were helping. And then he saw something else. Himself, but younger, a child, lost in the woods, a glowing woman carrying him, singing in a language he didn't know. His mother? Illyra's voice echoed in his mind. You are not fully human, Jake. Your blood remembers more than your mind does. The vision faded. Jake gasped and ripped the device off. What the hell was that? Illyra looked at him calmly. Now you understand. Jake's hands trembled. This is bigger than aliens. This is invasion without war. Dren nodded. And we've been losing quietly. Jake stood pacing. How many people? How many have already been replaced? We don't know, Illyra said. But the ones in power, they're the first targets. Jake looked outside. And those bots? What are they? Security for the Sura, Dren said. They clean up problems. Like us. Outside, the red lights moved closer. Illyra picked up the core device. If we can activate the signal in here, we can send the data to a Narosian satellite. Get help. Maybe stop this. Jake nodded. And what's the catch? Dren looked at the ceiling. The signal will alert every Sura within 200 miles. Jake chuckled dryly. Of course it will. Suddenly, Max growled. His ears went up. He barked twice and then fell silent. Jake turned. Max, the door burst open. It wasn't a hunter this time. It was a human man wearing a ranger uniform, but his eyes were glowing red. Jake's blood turned cold. Steve? The man smiled, but it was wrong. Hey there, Jakey boy. Illyra raised her hand, powering up her palm. He's not your friend anymore. Steve laughed. Oh, I'm so much more now. Asterisk in a blink, he moved. Superhuman speed. He grabbed Dren and threw him across the room like a rag doll. Jake swung the chair leg. Steve caught it midair and snapped it in two. "You're not important, Jake. You're just noise." But then Steve paused. His red eyes narrowed. "Wait. No, you're more. I can feel it." He reached toward Jake's face, but stopped. His hand burned when it got too close. Jake's veins glowed faintly blue. Alira stared. "It's starting. What is?" Jake shouted, backing away. "The Neurosian energy inside you," she said. "It's waking up." Steve hissed and stumbled back. "Impossible. You're a hybrid. You shouldn't exist." Jake looked at his hands. They glowed faintly like circuits under his skin. Steve ran. He didn't fight. He fled. Dren coughed, getting up. "We have to use it, now." Alira placed the core device on the signal panel. "Jake, you have to touch it. Your energy will boost the transmission." Jake hesitated. "Will it hurt?" She didn't answer. He laughed once. "Figures." He reached out and touched it. The device exploded with light. The tower shook. A deep hum filled the air, vibrating the floor, the windows, their bones. Outside, the red lights began to flicker. Some hunters fell. Some exploded. Some turned and ran. The signal was sent. The Sura had been seen 1 hour later. The tower was quiet. The core was dark. Jake sat on the floor, breathing hard, hands still glowing faintly. Alira sat beside him. "You did it," Jake chuckled. "No big deal. Just used my half-alien soul to light up a cosmic USB stick," she smiled. "More than that, you gave Earth a chance." Dren looked up. "They'll come now. From Naros, reinforcements, but it won't be easy." Jake nodded slowly. "It never is." He looked outside. The snow was falling again. Quiet. But the war had already begun, and he was no longer just a mountain man. He was something else. Something new. Asterisk. We were betrayed. And they found us. Asterisk. The ranger tower had gone still. The signal was sent. The core was quiet, and the hunter units had scattered like insects under a sudden light. But the war hadn't stopped. It had only paused. Jake sat on the cold floor, staring at his hands. Blue veins still pulsed faintly under his skin like lightning trapped inside him. "I feel like I just got electrocuted by destiny," he muttered. Alira knelt beside him, scanning his vitals with a small glowing device. "Your energy levels are fluctuating. Your body is changing." Jake smirked. "I've heard that line before, usually in puberty." Dren was watching from the corner. His expression was unreadable. "He's adapting too fast. Neurosian hybrids aren't supposed to awaken this quickly." Jake stood slowly. "Yeah, well, maybe I'm not your average space mutant." But then Max barked, loud, sharp, alert. The three of them turned instantly. Dren went to the window. His robotic eye zoomed in. Then his face went pale. "They're back," he said. "And this time, they're not hiding." Jake rushed over. "How many?" Dren didn't answer right away. He just stared. Alira joined them and gasped. Through the trees, dozens of red lights blinked in rhythm. Hunter units, but not like before. These were larger, heavier, bulkier. Some had wings. Others crawled on 6 legs. Some hovered and walking. At the center of them, a woman, human-looking. Too perfect. Blonde hair, golden eyes. Smiling like she owned the earth. Alira froze. "No, it can't be. Who is that?" Jake asked. "That's Commander Viren," Alira whispered. "She was one of us, Neurosian." Jake frowned. "Wait, one of the good guys?" Dren's jaw tightened. "She betrayed us. Joined the Sura, gave them everything." Jake blinked. "So now we've got space traders too. This is getting biblical." Suddenly, the signal console sparked. The tower shook. A voice played from the speaker, smooth, cold, familiar. "Hello, little rebels. I see your signal was sent. Cute. Now come down and surrender the hybrid." Jake flinched. "She means me, doesn't she?" Illyra grabbed his arm. "We have to leave, now." But Dren didn't move. His eyes were locked on the woman outside. "Dren," Illyra said slowly. "What is it?" He turned to her, expression strange. "I sent the signal too soon," he said. "What?" Jake stepped forward. "What do you mean, too soon?" Dren exhaled. "I didn't think you'd survive the bridge, Jake. I thought, if you died, we'd send the core anyway and run. But you didn't die. You adapted." Illyra's voice turned sharp. "What are you saying, Dren?" Dren looked at both of them. "I made a deal." Boom. Silence. Jake's heart dropped. "You, what?" "I sent them our location in exchange for safe passage to Naros." Illyra's hands glowed. "You betrayed us. I gave us a chance." Dren shouted. "They were going to wipe this place out anyway. I thought we could outsmart them. I didn't know Jake would awaken the way he did." Jake's veins sparked. "Blue, so you were going to hand me over? I didn't know what you were, okay? I thought you were just a human fluke." A loud crack echoed through the forest. Illyra turned. "They're opening the trees." Jake's voice was flat, cold. "Get out of my sight, Dren." Dren looked torn, then ran, disappearing into the back exit hatch. Illyra touched Jake's shoulder. "We can still escape. There's an underground tunnel through the cliffs." Jake didn't move. His eyes were glowing brighter now. The air around him shimmered. "They want me," he said. "Then I'll give them a show." Illyra's voice softened. "Jake, this power inside you, if you lose control," Jake looked at her. "Then let's hope I don't." The ambush, they burst out the bottom hatch of the tower, running through the thick trees behind the cliff wall. Max ran ahead, guiding them. But it was a trap. Explosions burst from the snow. Drones flew down from the sky, blocking every escape path. One hunter unit landed right in front of Jake, 8 legs. 2 plasma cannons at it aimed. Jake didn't think. He reacted that he raised his hand. And it happened. A pulse of blue energy exploded from his palm, blasting the hunter into pieces. Trees shook. The snow melted in a 5-foot circle. Illyra stared, wide-eyed. "You just used Nerosian energy," Jake blinked. It felt like instinct. Another drone flew in. Jake reached out and crushed it midair with invisible force. Max barked, circling him in excitement. Illyra stepped closer. "Jake, I don't think you're just a hybrid. You're something more." Then the sky tore open. A small Sura dropship hovered above the trees. From it, 3 dark figures dropped, gliding down like shadows. One of them was Viren. She landed in front of Jake with a perfect smile. "So this is the famous half-breed. She Purred. Jake stood tall. "You've got something to say. It fast," Viren laughed. "You have no idea what's inside you. Nerosians fear it. The Sura want to control it. But me, I want to free it." Jake's eyes narrowed. "Why betray your own people?" She stepped closer. "Because power doesn't care about loyalty. It cares about survival." She extended a hand. "Come with me. Learn what you really are. Or stay here and burn with this planet." Jake looked at her hand, then blasted her 10 feet into the snow with a pulse of raw energy. She hit a tree. Hard. Jake stood over her. "I choose Earth." Her smile faded. The other 2 Sura soldiers attacked. Jake turned, dodged, caught one in midair, and slammed him into the ground. Illyra fired a pulse at the other, sending him flying. Together, they stood back to back, breathing hard. Jake looked at her. "You still think I'm just a mountain guy with a wood stove?" She smirked. "You're a space warrior now." He nodded. "Good, because I think we just declared war." Aftermath: the battle ended at dawn. The Sura retreated injured, but not defeated. Jake sat on a rock, his arms glowing, body shaking. "I can't control this," he said. "You will," Alira said gently. "You're not alone." They looked up at the sky. The stars shimmered. But something darker moved between them. Jake felt it. Something bigger was coming, something worse. And this was just the beginning. "The alien inside me is waking up." Jake couldn't sleep. Not because of the cold, not because of the bruises from fighting space monsters in the woods, but because something inside him had changed, that it wasn't just his glowing hands, that it wasn't the dreams either. It was the whispers. They'd started after the fight with Viren. He could hear voices. Faint, echo-like, speaking a language he didn't recognize, but somehow understood. He sat on the edge of a rock, staring at his reflection in a frozen stream. His eyes flickered blue. Lines ran faintly under his skin, like energy veins. Not human anymore. Alira approached, holding 2 metal canisters. "Still can't sleep?" she asked. He shook his head. She handed him one. "It's not coffee, but it's hot. Kinda tastes like sadness." Jake smirked. "Perfect. That matches my soul." They sat in silence for a moment. Then he said, "I'm hearing things, Alira." She nodded slowly. "Voices?" Jake looked at her sharply. "You know, it's part of the awakening," she said. "Neurosian hybrid genes can carry buried consciousness, fragments of old minds, knowledge from ancestors." Jake frowned. "So what, I've got a bunch of alien ghosts in my head?" She hesitated. "Not ghosts," she said softly. "More like echoes, memories, data imprinted into your DNA. You were never supposed to activate it. Not like this, not this fast." Jake rubbed his temples. "Last night I heard a name, over and over. Walter, does that mean anything?" Alira's face turned pale. She stood, walked away a few steps. "Alira?" Jake asked. She turned back, her voice barely a whisper. "Walter was a Neurosian weapon, a being so powerful. It destroyed an entire moon. It was locked away. Its energy sealed, divided, erased from existence." Jake stood up slowly. "And now it's inside me?" "I don't know," she said. "But the fact that you're hearing its name means something ancient has noticed you." Suddenly, Dren's voice came through the link. "You need to see this, now." The vision chamber deep inside a cave system beneath the mountains. Dren had set up what looked like a strange lab mixed with a temple. Hollow pillars, floating stones, a humming orb in the center. Jake walked in, instantly feeling pressure in his skull. "What is this place?" he asked. "A Neurosian memory chamber," Alira said. "We use them to test psychic strength and to hold dangerous thoughts." Jake raised an eyebrow. "Hold thoughts like a brain jail?" "Exactly." Dren stepped forward. "This one is special. It's ancient. We didn't even know it was still on Earth." Jake narrowed his eyes. "Why do I feel like you're about to ask me to sit inside that glowing death orb?" Alira stepped beside him. "Because we are," Jake sighed. "Of course." Inside the chamber, the moment Jake sat inside the orb-shaped chamber, everything went dark, but not normal darkness. Thinking darkness. A pressure, a presence. He wasn't alone. Memories that weren't his flooded his mind. Flashes of other planets, battles, screams, starships exploding in silence. He saw a creature, a being of light and shadows. Its voice boomed inside his skull. "You carry my spark, my prison, my weapon." Jake tried to scream, but he couldn't move. He saw Earth burning, his face different. Not human, glowing, terrifying. He saw Alira afraid of him. He saw himself losing control. The voice spoke. "Again, let me out. Let me finish what we started." Then white light and silence. Jake woke up screaming. Alira was beside him. Jake, it's okay. His hands were sparking uncontrollably, tiny bolts jumping across his fingers. He gasped, sweat pouring down his face. It spoke to me. Something inside me, it wants out. Dren looked grim. That confirms it. Part of Valter-S energy was hidden inside Neurosian hybrid DNA, and Jake is its host. Jake stood up, shaky. So I'm what, a walking space? Nuke with anxiety issues? It's not funny, Alira said. I'm not laughing, Jake replied. Dead serious. The truth about Earth selection. Alira activated a HOLO map. It showed Earth, then other planet circles around them. Some green, some red. Earth had a yellow ring. What's this? Jake asked. Alira said, it's a planetary status chart. Earth was on the observation list for decades, watched but untouched. Until now. Dren added, the Sura didn't. Just choose Earth by accident. They picked it because of you. Jake's eyes narrowed. What? You're not the only hybrid, Dren said, but you're the only awakened one. They knew something was hidden here. Something they could use, Alira said. They didn't come to invade Earth. They came to extract you. Jake stared at the map. So all of this, the hunters, Varen, the betrayal, was to get me. Yes, she said, because if they get what's inside you, they win, everywhere. Jake ran a hand through his hair. Okay, that's awful. Dren looked at him. There may be a way to separate the Valter energy from your body, but it's risky. Jake gave a bitter laugh. Define risky. It might kill you, Alira said flatly. Jake looked down at his glowing hands. Yeah, sounds about right. The signal trapped suddenly. The chamber lights dimmed. Dren rushed to the console. Incoming signal encrypted Sura code. Jake frowned. Did they find us again? Alira's face went cold. No, worse. What? She turned the monitor on. The screen, Max, Jake's dog, trapped in a force field. Held in what looked like a lab. Virene's voice echoed. Surrender yourself, Jake, or we erase everything you care about, starting with the mutt. Jake's fists clenched. Dren said, quickly, it's a trap. They're baiting you. I know, Jake said. You can't go alone, Alira said. I'm not, Jake replied. He looked up, his eyes glowing brighter than ever before. I'm going with him. A pause. Alira whispered, you're going to let Valtor take over? Jake gave a small, dangerous smile. Just a little. Just enough to break the rules. I had to let her go. But she'll be back. The night before the battle was too quiet. Snowflakes floated lazily over the trees, but beneath the stillness, the earth felt like it was holding its breath. Inside the ancient Neurosian cave, Jake stood alone in front of a cracked mirror. His reflection flickered, sometimes human, sometimes not. His veins glowed like constellations. His breath fogged the air, but his body was warm. Too warm. The alien inside was waking up. Valter was close. Jake closed his eyes. Inside his mind, a black space. A voice like thunder. Let me take control. No, Jake replied. You'll die without me. Then I'll die my way. The mission. Alira and Dren prepared the gear. Energy rifles, EMP mines, cloaking fields, everything they had left. Max's signal showed he was being held in an abandoned underground Sura facility beneath the valley. Max is alive, Alira confirmed. But not for long. Jake tightened his gloves. Then let's make it count. Dren stepped forward, hesitant. If we don't make it, Jake stopped him with a smirk. We're gonna make it. We've got a space dog, a half-alien dude, and a woman who shoots light from her hands. We're not losing. Dren chuckled. Fair. They moved out. 3 shadows in the stormed out the facility. The underground Sura complex looked like something pulled from a nightmare, dark, cold, alive. The walls weren't metal. They breathed. Organic tech. twitching and pulsing like veins. Jake hated every second of it. They moved fast through the corridors, disabling drones and avoiding scanners. The tension was thick. Every corner could be a trap. Finally, they reached the chamber. There, inside a glowing force field, Max, still alive, tail wagging weakly, but guarded by 6 armored Sura drones, and behind them, on a throne of floating glass shards -VIREN. Her golden eyes locked on Jake. Ah, the hybrid arrives. Jake stepped forward. Let the dog go. She tilted her head. No, but I'll let you go. Come with me, Jake. Let the Valta rise. Together we'll rebuild this galaxy, Jake snorted. You want me as a weapon? I want you as a god, she whispered. Jake's hands lit up. Yeah, I've seen how your gods treat people. Viren stood, and the throne shattered into stardust. The drones raised their weapons. Alira stepped forward. Jake, remember what we talked about. Don't let it control you. Jake nodded. Then he ran straight into the fire. The final fight. Jake jumped into the center of the chamber. A blast of energy from his palm destroyed 2 drones instantly. He moved like lightning, grabbing one drone, spinning, throwing it into another. Dren tossed him a blaster. Jake caught it midair and fired a beam that cut through one of the walls, collapsing it. Max barked wildly inside the shield. Viren stepped into the fight, her hands glowing gold. She was fast, inhumanly fast. They clashed. Jake's blue against her gold. Every strike was like thunder. The entire facility shook. You can't win, she said, grabbing his throat mid-air. Jake grinned, despite choking. You're right. Then his eyes turned white-blue. But we can. A pulse exploded from Jake's body, the Voltor. Awakening, not fully unleashed, but enough. The drones fried. The shield shattered. Max ran free. Viren screamed as energy burned her arms. But Jake didn't stop there. He saw inside her. Saw her memories. Her fear, her betrayal, and he hesitated. Finish her, Dren shouted. But Jake lowered his hand. I'm not a weapon, he said quietly. I choose who I become. Viren, broken, stared at him with hate. You're weak. No, Jake said. I'm still human. The escape. They ran. Jake carried Max. Alira blasted open the exit tunnel. Dren set the charges. The entire facility collapsed behind them in a cloud of dust and blue light. They emerged into the open air, cold, clear, and beautiful. For now. The war was over. The farewell. A week later, the stars were quiet again. Alira stood on a rocky hill, looking at the night sky. Her ship, now repaired, glowed behind her. Jake walked up slowly, Max by his side. You sure you have to go? He asked. She nodded. I have to take the core back to Naros. They need to know everything. Jake looked away. We could use someone like you down here. She smiled. You already have you. They stood there in silence. Finally, she placed her hand on his chest. The Valter is still inside. But it listens to you now. Jake looked into her eyes. Will I ever be normal again? You never were, she said with a smirk. That's why you're dangerous. She stepped into her ship. Jake watched as it lifted into the sky. She looked back one last time. I'll be back, she said. This isn't over. And then she was gone. Epilogue. 1 month later, Jake sat on his porch, Max beside him, staring at the sky. He sipped coffee. Beneath his skin, the light still pulsed, quietly, waiting, but he wasn't afraid anymore. He had a cabin, a purpose, and maybe a war to prepare for. The radio crackled behind him. Transmission intercepted. Valter unit detected. Earth remains unstable. Jake looked up at the stars and smiled. Let them come.